So I just was like, I don't know what to think. The original interaction was kind of sus, but then it was a super legit fight, and then I voiped at him, and then I thought he teleported, but then I have evidence of two people that I really don't think are cheating. They experienced the same thing, and I was like, I don't know what to feel anymore. I'm just like, I just die, and I just can't even try and process it anymore. It's just like, it's just out of control. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, the show dedicated to talking about all the pockets things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I am one of your co-hosts, Jesse Kazam, and I found the John B glasses.
Oh my God. And I'm Veritas. Never been more sexually attracted to another man in my life.
I can't see anything.
Can you actually
with them
see
on.
through? No,
dude, they're so. I tried to play a raid with them, and I can't see anything.
Oh my God.
Anything.
Well, I mean,
up?
I don't need John B glasses over my IRL eyes to not see anything in Tarkov. But what I have seen in the last like 72 hours of my gameplay experience has. It's just questioning like my life.
Yeah. Like even just like your own raids, what you've been experiencing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a few of those moments today.
Oh God, I don't know if you were familiar at all, other than like what we briefly talked about with what has been kind of consuming the last couple of days.
Like I definitely don't know the full picture. You sent me that DM, and I tried to pop in for as much as I could last night, but with the hurricane and the kiddos and everything, I was only able to catch like maybe 10 minutes total of the conversation. So like I was trying to keep up. So I will come along with the journey of the audience member through this.
How well, first of all, how's like the hurricane, everything all good on your end?
Yeah, for us, it really just like carved its way right around us. We basically are right at the outer bands of it as it like made landfall, and then it just kept going east, and then now it's moving north, and we've just basically remained in the exact same spot in relation to the eye of the storm, which was basically just like pretty windy and a little rainy. So like we didn't lose power. It's just been a few gloomy days. I know that some people really, I mean, it really wrecked parts of South Florida. But for us, I mean, we had everything ready, all the food. I was like turning off my computers and putting them in stuff, so just in case the window broke, and then it was like nothing.
I don't know why I pictured a bathtub.
Yeah, I put my computers in the bathtub.
I pictured you putting a CRT monitor, just a big old retro one in your
the bathtub, putting blankets on it. No.
Yeah.
Well, because like
I think this is what we're supposed to do, right?
Because I have a window with a window unit AC, and then like 18 inches in front of that window unit is my streaming PC on the floor. So I was like, if this window busts or this like AC unit gets taken away from the wind, it's just all coming straight in on my stuff. So I had to like move it, and it was all for nothing. But yeah, so we're fine.
Well, better safe than sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
So on my Tarkov side of things, I'm gonna try to give like the briefest synopsis I can. It was like a month ago. I got some DMs from some folks about a small streamer that they were suspicious of a bunch of clips. I got links to like tweets and Reddit posts and stuff like that. One of the tweets had a clip that had 20,000 views.
Jeez.
Which I don't know if you've like. I don't think I've ever posted a video clip on Twitter that's gotten 20,000 views.
Yeah.
Let alone like 100 retweets and having 80 comments, and it's just
for sure.
Yeah. But it was about a smaller streamer that they were suspicious of his gameplay. It wasn't one of those obvious like we've seen before where like someone has like a URL to their Discord where they want to sell you the cheats, and you can see the wall hack overlays and just the most blatant ever. It wasn't like that. But it was, I'll just say, questionable gameplay.
Yeah.
I did a whole bunch of analysis, and I'm really condensing this down. This actually consumed a good couple of weeks of like my content. I mean, I downloaded and went through maybe 30 or 40 hours of VODs.
Really?
I was working on a video. It was going to be this in-depth thing. Long story short, after talking with the individual and them for multiple months being basically denying that they were cheating, it kind of came to a head, and they basically said, "Hey, I
couldn't deny it
want to
anymore.
I want to come clean." So I ended up having this person on my stream. We just had a chat for a couple hours last night, and it was basically just me sort of allowing them to publicly admit to cheating. It got in. There's a lot of people that we all know about the 1,000,001 cheater interview videos that are, for the most part, I think pretty dog. I don't find them particularly damaging. I just think that it's just the same.
Yeah.
It's just more kind of stupid misinformation.
Yeah.
They're usually bad interviews. With people who are answering with information that
For sure.
they don't really have, that but just because someone cheats doesn't make them an expert on cheating.
Yep.
At all.
And just because they have a microphone doesn't mean you're a good interviewer.
Yeah. So a lot of people thought that it was going to be like that, or that I was really coming at this particular instance as there was this big, this big drama. A lot of people didn't know about it, but a lot of people did know about it. I mean, the fact that people don't know about my 3-hour audio video, they don't know that exists, just goes to show that there are things that are huge in the Tarkov community that a massive amount of people just don't know about and don't hear about, right? So this was just something that was big enough that I felt like it needed attention. Well, not that it needed attention, it needed to be addressed. And then the fact that he basically had admitted to me that he had cheated, I figured the community deserved to hear that as well, and not from me, from
not you,
the guy himself, but because I had basically, been involved. That's why I was involved in the whole ending of it. Anyway, I feel like it's
I understand.
Came to a head. I feel like it's finally done. I don't anticipate that they're going to be streaming Escape from Tarkov anymore. So, but part of what the tough part there is that because this got a bunch of attention over multiple months, looking at the stats. His stats, as of recently, 1,400 raids, level 64, had been reported multiple times. He got a 7-day suspension on Twitch for suspicious gameplay, but his account, he hasn't been banned on Tarkov yet.
What? That's interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. Other than the fact that as of 2 days ago, well, it was before that, but not super long ago, within the last week was when I had given his name to Nikita to basically say, hey, look, that was before I knew definitively.
Yeah. Interesting.
But so obviously that isn't great that's a thing.
So how did the interview go last night? Do you feel like, because I popped in, I popped in, like I said, for a few minutes. He kind of felt all over the place the little bit that I saw.
Yeah, I mean, it's reasonable. It's not like he had prepared anything. I hadn't prepared anything. We were both kind of all over the place.
True.
But I mean, here's the biggest thing, and here's why I hate watching anybody else do a cheater interview. Originally, he had made kind of the off comment that there was 5 cheaters in every raid, and I had to pump the brakes and say, no, okay. And also, just for backstory, he was using an overlay on his game that was wall hack, so he could see people's wireframes through walls, And he could also see certain items, you know, like he'd be able to see a red key card, he'd be able to see GPUs or whatever. But then he also was using like magnetic bullets, I guess is what people call it. I hate, for some reason I hate that. But basically, like, it's not like an aimbot, which will like completely lock on your crosshair to their head. The bullets will hit the head even if you're not really aiming at them.
Interesting.
So he'd be aiming 15 feet next to somebody, or he'd be kind of like point firing while moving, so it's kind of all over the place, but it was the bullet would always just hit the head in kind of a chaotic sort of spray.
Interesting.
But
very interesting.
Where was I going with that?
He said 5 cheaters every raid.
Yeah, so basically I had to be like, pump the brakes, because first of all, that's crazy of a claim.
Yeah.
But like, here's the thing, like every other cheater interview, they would have been like, wow, really?
Yep.
Yeah, and then they would have moved on from it.
Yeah.
But I really pressed him and grilled him on, well, how do you know that, and what, like, why? And it ultimately all came down to the fact that it wasn't like he saw something with his cheats that made him know they were running cheats. There wasn't like an identifier that this is a cheat 1, 2, 3, bro.
Yeah.
They have the same cheat as you. Don't kill them. You know, nothing like that. And he said he's seen like 2 fly hackers like teleport like ever, basically, and he's got 1,400 raids this wipe. It was his judgment based on how their wireframe was behaving.
Gotcha.
So if they were looking at him or shooting people across the map or whatever, you know, like, which in my opinion, I don't buy people's judgment.
Exactly.
I think most people are really stupid when it comes to judging those types of things.
Yeah.
I bet you half of, because I do the thing where I'm looking at somebody through the wall because I'm using the audio localization and I'm trying to picture the map.
For
so I
sure.
look in that direction. And then I constantly am like wiggling out of boredom.
Yep.
Just hitting Q and E like when you flick your mouse when you're playing CSGO.
Yeah.
So, but he's like, oh, people will turn and look at me and wiggle at me through the wall. So that's how I know. It's like, well, okay, now you have to eliminate some of those
for sure
already as legitimate players. So ultimately, I got him down from 5 per raid to 1 per raid, including himself. So that means 2 per raid.
Yeah.
Which I want to say that we're exactly where we started.
Yes.
Which is it. There could be people who are just better at hiding it than he is, and they could have been cheating without him knowing.
Yeah.
And there could be people that he thought were cheating that were legit.
Yeah.
So,
and that's another, like, really, just like before you move on, a really important distinction on, like, going back to my comment, like, just because you have a microphone doesn't make you a good interviewer. Like, that is an important nuanced distinction between just like Joe Schmo's interview with a cheater and somebody who really wants to gain information here. One of the brief moments I popped in was when he was talking about like how many accounts he had and which one had been banned. And I heard you say the words, "I implore you to get the details of this correctly." I heard you say those words. And so going back, someone in chat, you said that he said there were 5 cheaters in every raid, and then you had just said, and I pumped the brakes because that's a crazy claim. And somebody in chat said, is it a crazy claim though? They would know because they're cheaters. Yes, because of exactly what just happened. If you had let it go and been like, whoa, 5 in a raid, everybody listening, everybody watching the video, everybody watching the podcast would have been like, wow, there's so many cheaters. But you didn't say, no, there isn't. I know. You said, are you sure? Because sometimes people are just weird. And then he went, yeah, maybe there's 2 per raid. So like,
and then I asked him how he knew, and which nobody ever asks how they came to the conclusion. Then we ended up sussing out that it was just his judgment.
So does he know more than I do about the cheating back end and sphere? Absolutely. Does that mean everything he says is infallible? No. He could have been sarcastic. He could have been exaggerating. He could have, you sussed out that his reasoning for a crazy claim was nothing more than just like his opinion. So does that mean that I think everything he says is stupid and I'm going to throw it all out? No. But that is such an important distinction on what a good interview is. Because like you're not just like letting, and I'm not trying to pump you up, I'm just trying to defend the like integrity of interviewing and talking about things. Because yes, just
doing
like
it well,
just like randomly letting a
versus doing it
person,
poorly.
yeah, exactly, randomly letting a person hop on your stream that cheated and talk about cheats for 2 minutes. Yeah, maybe they're just basically advertising their cheats. But when you're like calling him out and being like, I don't know about that, can we elaborate? What is your reason? You're not even telling him it's wrong. You're just basically saying like, can you defend your own statement? And if just by asking him that he's walking it back, it just shows you the importance of doing that, the importance of pushback from the interviewer's perspective, the importance of just like speaking in a way where you can back up your own claims so that we don't have these situations. So yes, it's important. And exactly, you end up back where you started. If the guy's like, yeah, there's totally cheaters in every raid because they look weird. Maybe there's cheaters in every raid. Maybe there's 5. Maybe there's not. You know what I mean? It's hard because it's just hard. So I just wanted to really briefly, because I saw that chat message and I was just like, that's such an important. I don't want to trust that people have picked up on that. I want to make sure we say that that's an important thing about interviewing. So, anyways.
Oh God, and of course I'm flabbergasted already at chat.
Yeah.
For like the, like I had made the comment about wiggling, basically saying how him saying, well, people wiggle at me through the walls, and how I'm like, I do that all the time at people.
Yeah.
Because I hear them and I'm like, maybe if I wiggle, they won't kill me because maybe they'll think I'm a cheater.
Yeah.
And then literally 30 seconds later, somebody in chat is like, the guy said that people wiggle at him. Like they don't realize, like they think that that's proof, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, if they see someone wiggling, then they must be cheating. And it's like, I just pointed out how that's not evidence, and someone uses that as evidence.
Also, if you're just seeing wireframes, like he could be wiggling at someone else. Like you're not.
It does show the direction.
Okay, of the player that the faces.
The aim.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay,
so that was a clarification that you can see like the little aim vector where they're looking and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, either way, it was interesting. I wasn't doing it to try to see if I could get some behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Basically, I wanted this guy to come clean.
Yeah.
So that everybody could see it. Everybody that's been bugging him, everybody that's been bugging me, so he could come clean for his sake, for everyone else's sake, as well as, and then I figured I might as well just make use of the opportunity to ask a bunch of questions out of my own morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
Part of what I did, because I had said I had gone through so much gameplay, was I pulled up all of the edited, cut up clips that I was planning on doing.
Okay.
A video analyzing like anatomy of a firefight, but anatomy of a cheater perspective, where I explain all of the things that aren't weird that so many people felt was weird, that all had reasonable explanations, and then all of the things that were subtle and yet really weird. That were tells for me. Not to mention all of the other obvious things. Yeah. So I've spent, and we've talked before how this is the third time that I have had many hours of gameplay for a streamer who was trying to basically stream not openly cheating, where I have then came to them, analyzed their gameplay. They've eventually, to me, when they wouldn't for months to the community, in days to me, basically admitted it. And I had the opportunity to go through, watch the footage that I had already analyzed, and then say, tell me what you were experiencing here. And I could see, I totally was like, this is masturbatory for me, like totally. But I need you to I need to know if my analysis is right. Right? Like I'm checking that my yardstick is a yard. You know what I mean? As a bit of a sanity check. So, and then fast forward to today. First, I've only been live for 3 hours, and the first 2.5 hours of the stream were buck wild, to the point where I genuinely more I feel like I am the star of the Truman Show. Like I'm waiting for Ashton Kutcher to come out and say you've been punked. Like it's unbelievable the situations that I find myself in, and I just need to walk through what happened today.
In Tarkov or in chat? Or
yes.
Both? Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. It's
strapping.
It's 9 layers more complex than you would think, and it's insane. And it's why right before the podcast I was so upset. It goes so many layers deep here. So yesterday, over the last couple of days, I've been talking about this whole cheater thing, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday I had like 7 hours of just like the first 2 raids of the day were really good raids. All the fights I got into felt like the old days where it was like that was fair and legit.
Yeah.
Like it was one of those moments where I was able to reposition, find an off angle, not make noise, and then they would come out and I surprised them and I killed them, and it was like they ran out, I surprised them and they were dead before they got a chance. Like it was the good old days where I could rely on the element of surprise to just dominate an enemy as opposed to having it be an aim duel while you're all aim punch blurry.
Yeah.
Or before dying before anybody should reasonably see or hear you, right? Yeah. And then I had the interview last night where I literally spent all the time talking to somebody who publicly had more information than they should have, you know, and played the game questionably for months in public.
Yep.
And then I did my immersion raid, the first raid of the day today, interchange raid. I'm playing like mad slow, like not running anywhere. I'm walking around. I'm just listening. My volume is cranked like it normally is. And randomly throughout the beginning of the raid, I'm hearing a suppressed like 153, the shoddy, just a, and there was something weird about like the audio that it almost sounded like the pop-in, you know, that you get with like scabs yell, but it was just like you'd hear the and then 10 seconds would go by. It was just really bizarre. And I actually went a little bit ahead of myself. I spawned in the parking lot behind. Is it not the railroad exit? The other one? Is it Ollie?
Oh, Emercom?
With the ramp, that back ramp?
Yeah. Emercom, yeah.
So I spawned in that parking lot.
Gotcha, yeah.
At the bottom, and like at the bottom of the ramp, just kind of did the whole little double around, go up the ramp. Now I know that that's like one of those things where someone spawns over there.
Someone's over there, yeah.
I just did a beeline, so as I'm running up halfway, I get beamed with, I don't know if it was flechette or not, but a silenced shotgun. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I go running up, go run inside. So then I'm in Emercom. No, sorry, I'm in Ollie.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the thing I never do. I almost always just run towards like Tech Light or the escalators. Like I get to the middle of.
Yeah.
I did the thing where I go through the back part of Ollie. And it's like, look at all the shelves, just picking up junk. I just got a scav junk box. So I'm like, I'm just going to go, and I need PC parts for all the annoying farming quests and whatever. Right? So I'm just going to look around for junk while I'm in interchange. So I take the back way along. And then randomly out of nowhere, I get hit with a suppressed shotgun shot. I'm like, I see nothing. It's just dark.
Yeah.
I've got my brightness all the way up on my monitor. I've got the post effects on. I just see nothing.
Yep.
So then I run all the way. Now this is over, not quite by the escalator, but closer in the middle area where there's just debris.
Yeah.
Between the stores.
Yeah.
So then I double back all the way back in towards Ollie, all the way back to the corner, as if I'm going out the back ramp, kind of where I came. And then I double all the way back around to the front of the entrance, like towards the top of the escalators. But you know how there's that back section where there's like registers
Yep.
and not kiosk, but there's like a whole wall there on the back side, right?
Yep.
So I like go around, flank, double back around the other way, super wide, and I'm back behind that wall. I hear nothing. I see nothing. I get hit with a suppressed shotgun shot again. It's like 3 times I see nothing, I hear nothing, and I'm just getting beamed.
Yeah.
it's like an annoying mosquito. Like I feel like I'm getting toyed with, you
Yep.
know? I go all the way back around towards at the bottom of the escalators, whatever that little tech shop is with the wood floor. And
Yeah,
I just pick up a
Texo,
couple of, I pull up some junk there. And again, this whole time I haven't seen anything, haven't heard anything other than just being shot.
Just the shot, yeah.
I slowly walk over to the bottom of the escalator, but the backside of it.
Okay.
And then I'm sitting along the side of the escalator because I'm thinking maybe whoever was chasing me is going to come either run straight up the escalator or just come running in front of me
Yeah.
towards, you know, the middle of interchange.
Yep.
And I'm there for like 3 minutes. 3 minutes is like a long time to sit there and not move.
Yep.
At one point, I kind of stand up, lean out a little bit. I get hit with another shotgun shot. I'm like, are you kidding me? I go all the way back around the long way. I back up. I go the long way all the way through the middle of the mall and then into Goshan.
Yep.
I kill a scav. And one of the scavs like blacked out my arm, I think. So then I go over by where the lockers are. You know, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to heal. And while I'm healing, I can just look around in the lockers. And while I'm over in that area, I get hit with a shotgun shot again. I'm like, what the is going on? And then somebody in my chat. Now, keep in mind, this was an immersion raid.
Yeah.
I started up the stream when I was already like loading loot. Like
Yeah.
So I'm saying that because I don't think anybody was stream sniping me.
Yeah. Because they
directly
wouldn't have known.
at least.
Yeah.
And then somebody in my chat says, this guy's stream sniping you. And he says a name of a streamer in chat. And I'm like, what? So then I turn on VoIP. I had VoIP turned off because there was somebody saying some like TOS. So I just turned off VoIP. I turned it on and I'm like, yo, are you cheating? Like, because it felt so sus, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, no, such and such. And I'm like, well, are you streaming? I'm like, because I want to see, you know, like for all I know, it's Smitty Stone or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I if you're streaming, I want to see, right?
Yeah.
And he tells me the name, and it's the name of the guy that someone in chat just said. And so I'm like, what the? So here I am thinking, I'm like, honestly, the thing that came to my mind first was
uninstall the game.
Well, no, what came to my mind was, is this just some cheaters have seen me talking about this stuff over the last couple of days publicly, and they want to fuck with me, right? One of the guys is streaming, one of them is some community member or whatever, and this whole thing is like an elaborate.
Yeah.
They just want to get under my skin, right?
Yeah.
This is where I'm like, am I in the Truman Show?
Yeah.
Because like, what are the chances?
That is insane. That is insane.
That somebody that's. Normally when you're in raid, right, and someone tells you your name, you're like, okay, that's weird. But when a viewer tells you the person who you're suspicious of's name in the game, who's streaming to 2 viewers,
the likelihood is
what are the chances that you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
I mean, I actually, it's hard to believe, but I genuinely am giving them the benefit of the doubt. I really do think that they had just pulled up another interchange stream. I know it's hard to believe,
but it was just like, that's crazy.
Because there are times where people can see, you know, they're clicking through different streams and they might see like, oh, 2 people in interchange. I wonder if they're in the same raid.
For
there are people like, I think Landmark's in the same raid with you, and it's like,
yeah. Or even if they were friends, you know what I mean? And this guy had his buddy stream up for the like viewer, but he was watching you, and then like he put the pieces together and was like, I think you're in Veritas's raid, and then that's how it started or whatever.
But
possible, but unlikely.
Yeah. But so I'm just like, I'm already salty because I feel like I'm just getting toyed with by a cheater who's with me. And then this other layer of complexity where it's like, well, now it almost feels like targeted harassment, right?
Yeah.
And so, but the guy says like, I heard you, you can pull up the VOD, you know, I'm not, you know, suspicious, and you know, I convince him. I'm like, listen, just f off. I'm like, the last thing I want at this point, I just don't want to die.
Just go.
I'm so frustrated, you know. I'm like, just please go. Let's go our separate ways. Like, I just don't want to die here right now after all this. It's just not gonna feel good.
Yeah.
And then, because like now I need to know, so I'm like I pull up the VOD and I watch his
Like
perspective.
his perspective of that whole thing, you moving around and him just constantly finding you.
And again, chat, like there's so many layers of this. The story, it's more complicated than you think. So don't like switch away while I'm halfway through.
Yeah.
So I watched the VOD, and from his perspective, what we see is he spawns all the way back by the buses.
Yeah.
He sprints and like jumps over the couple of the barriers, right, and runs, and then randomly it seems like it's totally intentional. Running, randomly stop, scope in, and then all of a sudden
And
you see me pop out instantly from the exact angle, pop out from like behind the bus.
Yeah.
As I'm running up the ramp. And it's like, okay, benefit of the doubt, I guess. Let's just keep watching.
Yeah.
Because sure, it's a common spot. Maybe it was unlucky timing that made him look more. Let's keep watching. We have all of the situations where now I've doubled back, I've been shot, whatever. And there's multiple scenarios where like none of the angles he was holding the entire raid, like nothing made any sense.
Yeah.
It was basically me and everybody else in chat. And normally chat is filled with, it's like 50-50 where people are like totally sus, and the other 50% are like,
no,
well,
dude,
maybe
I check that spot all the time.
Yeah, that's a totally common spot. People normally jump on this one box and look towards. Imagine,
the east.
Imagine you are looking at the bottom of the escalators.
Yeah.
At the bottom of Tech Light, but you're like zoomed in to the right side of the escalators as if somebody was, right to the side of the escalators, not the escalators, but like, it was extremely, sus. And then later on, after I reposition, somehow ends up managing to perfectly walk, oh no, he's sprinting, jumping around on boxes and like not really checking angles, where I'm slow creeping.
Yeah.
And I'm the audio guy. Once again, I hear nothing, I see nothing. He's running, jumping all over the place. I got no audio cues.
Yeah.
And then randomly, there's the most subtle of audio cues ever. And he zooms in on like a total black area of the screen, and then you see my head walk by, and it's like, there's okay, maybe it was the subtle audio cue, and he got lucky with where he looked. I don't know. But now we're 0 for 3 right now with things that seem like legit, like legit explanations. And then later he's doing this thing where he's kind of, scoping in sort of at the wall, at barriers where there's no audio cues, and I'm slowly walking. I'm not making much sound.
Yeah.
I don't hear him, and he's making more sound than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it just so happens that he knows, that when he looks over here, I'm going to walk out suddenly. There's just so many crazy, weird coincidences that it looked exactly like the guy that the previous people who I've interviewed, where I'm like, I was sure they were cheating. It was exactly
when you watch
the same
that
thing.
type of gameplay. Yeah.
Where if you watch it, it's any normal experienced player can watch it, and it's weird.
Yeah.
There's some plausible deniability, right? But if you have the information as to where the people are, and you envision that you could see a wireframe through the wall, everything they do makes sense. All of the posturing of the character and where exactly they're free looking, and the timing and the angles of the aim and everything, right? So I watched the whole thing, and at no, like, one of the moments he told me that I pushed him. I don't remember if it was in my chat
later or over
because he came in because he said his name, so people were in his chat and whatever, right? I don't remember if it was in chat or if it was in game, but he basically said, "Oh, you pushed me." He literally goes upstairs, loots 2 Tetrises, ignores half of not Goshan, the tech light. Ignores half of it, picks up 2 Tetrises, goes upstairs, goes all the way through the top, all the way through whatever, ends up going down the escalator above Goshan.
Yep.
Because he hears me, I am shooting the scav that blacked out my arm from earlier, remember?
Yep.
He's upstairs, like above Kiba at that point. Runs all the way down, doesn't look anywhere in Goshan at all, and basically focuses on the lockers, right? And then but he says, I pushed him the whole, every engagement was, I never saw him. Never saw a single pixel of his body in 7 different engagements, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm like basically fully convinced, that this person's cheating, that they're streaming it, that they're doing blatantly. I feel like it's just more of the same people playing unfairly. I lay in on the guy. I go in on him like pretty hard, basically saying like, I just don't believe you, all this stuff. Because I had said, I'm like, listen, if I watch the VOD and all of this is explainable, I'll apologize.
Yeah.
I'm like straight up. Like I even said, I'm like, listen, I'm salty and I'm sus about everybody right now, and I just don't trust anything. I can't trust anything.
Yeah.
Nothing feels legit. Nothing feels, sincere. And the fact that this is my first raid of the day.
Yeah.
After this whole cheater thing, it's just, and then someone in chat knew his name. It just many layers.
Yep.
Triggered the hell out of me. And of course, I've been sick. I've been quarantined for 15 days in my basement. I'm just already like not in the greatest place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then while I'm, I end up having another raid where in the same spot in interchange, the first thing I hear is a shotgun. And I'm already like, oh God, is this guy in the raid with me? Like, you can't be serious, right? It wasn't him. It just ended up being a duo of a guy I never saw that happened to just one tap me.
Yeah.
And then naturally I've got people in chat saying, what do you expect? You get a flashlight. It's like a beacon. Well, yeah, because I can't see anything in the dark, So it's either I don't have a flashlight. So what do you expect? You're not going to see anything in the dark. Don't complain that it's dark. Well, then when I use a flashlight, then I can't, I'm just telegraphing my location. If I'm loud, it's because I'm loud. If I'm quiet, well, you can't be perfectly quiet. So there's always you made a footstep, you made a reload noise. Maybe your character was breathing. Maybe it's the breathing bug. Maybe it's the face shield bug. Maybe it's Steam audio. Maybe it's whatever, right?
Yeah. For sure.
And then I'm going on this guy for what I think are legitimate reasons. And the way that I left off here, this situation, because I basically just moved on, was I was like 98% sure, the guy was cheating. Well, then when we're getting set up for the podcast, I open up Discord and get a message from somebody, a friend of mine, basically saying, listen, man, you went a little hard on the guy. You shouldn't have said this or you shouldn't have said that. And they were misunderstandings about what I said.
Yeah.
Now, it's one of those things like there's some nuance. What I had basically said when I was going in on the guy was, I basically said, with all the cheaters being like so dishonest playing like this, these are the types of people that, when they're 16-year-old cheaters, these are the types of people that end up not paying their taxes and like basically saying like their lives fall apart because if you can't be dishonest from 16 to 30 and it's going to f your life up, right?
Yeah.
So like you need to grow out of that dishonesty, which it's harsh, but at the same time, it's distinct from how it was interpreted, which is you are going to have your wife leave you and you're going to not pay your taxes because that's who you are.
Yeah.
I know the nuance is hard for people to understand, but
especially
both of them are harsh.
Yeah.
But when I say people who are dishonest who like cheat their way through life are the ones that cheat on their taxes.
Yeah.
That's different than, but I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But, it's like I already get misunderstood and misinterpreted when I'm at my best. So, and when I'm at my worst, it's even worse because, it's like, well, I'm rightfully upset.
Yeah.
And I'm not upset in the right way for people.
Yeah.
And not even for myself. I already feel bad, right? And then I open up another DM from someone who is I trust, who was 10 minutes ago agreeing with me 100% sus, total to now saying, oh, well, I'm looking at his footage and now there's all these explanations and maybe it's legit. So now it's like, I just in front of 500 people went in on this poor new streamer guy.
Yeah.
Everybody's totally in agreement with me that they were sus. And now I'm being told that I'm being upset in the wrong way for all of the wrong reasons, and that I wasn't even right to begin with and they're legitimate.
Yep.
And people constantly want to tell me all the things I'm feeling and thinking.
Yeah.
As if they have any context as to, and this is 5% of the shit I deal with on a daily basis. It's just constantly not being able to trust myself and my judgment, and like,
especially because, like you were saying, like the context of everything that had happened over the past few days, like with how much you're just like I mean, not even days, weeks really, but days, because of the interview and setting that up and stuff like that. And just all the conversation with like an actual cheater and all this kind of stuff. It just brings it so much more top of mind. And that is just going to inform so much so how you react, especially with how weird that is of like somebody literally calling out, like, I think this person is stream sniping you. Like that is going to color so much of how the rest of that interaction is. Because at first you're like, what a ridiculous thing to say, to like call a person's name out. And then when that dude is in your raid, it's so hard to just like erase that and like be like, oh, let me approach this situation very completely unbiased. It's like your homie just sold you out for stream sniping me. You know what I mean? And that it just starts the whole thing off in a weird place.
Yeah, I like it. And part of what I've just struggled with just so much lately is they're just different flavors of like gaslighting constantly, where it's I'll sit and I'll analyze 6 hours of suspicious gameplay, and someone will just show up and say, well, dude, maybe he heard you there.
Yeah.
And it's like, do I start over from 6 hours ago and show you the 9 billion other things that all lead me to believe the thing? Well, no, I just am going to have this person have a misunderstanding. They're going to think I'm being unreasonable and I'm just salty. And then they're going to go into other people's chats and talk. And then 500 other people are going to talk and come and DM me and deal with all that other. And then when I talk about it, when I vent, even to you on my podcast, right? Yeah. Because I don't get to talk to anybody about Tarkov.
Yeah.
I don't play with people. I only stream it, and then I have the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I don't have friends I talk to in Discord, right? I just deal with Twitch chat, and Twitch chat, the individuals in Twitch chat are all individual human beings. They all deserve love and respect. Everybody's a human, right? Yeah. But the entity that is Twitch chat or the YouTube comments, it's a brainless, drooling mob of nonsense.
Yeah.
And to have to deal with that constantly, and what comes from it of just all of the I can't even talk about it without someone then saying, oh, well, let me tell you how you're supposed to interpret the evidence that I don't even know you have because I just got here.
Yeah.
And also what you should do with your real life mental health, and what you should do with your stream, and what you should do with whatever, and then go talk about it and spread it everywhere. And then that all, I don't care if people talk about it or spread it everywhere. But it's that trickles into, well, then more people are going to come and do it, and it's the self-fulfilling thing.
Yeah.
And it's that's upsetting.
Yeah.
I don't get upset if someone says, like, I'm a salty man-child in someone else's chat. Go for it. I don't care.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. But it's everything that comes from that, and everything that evolves from that, and all of the things that contribute to that.
Yeah.
That is what's exhausting.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like, there's just not enough time to explain to everybody all of the ways in which they don't have the context.
Exactly. There's just not enough time to explain to everybody. And that's the thing, is that like when people are like, well, that, just don't respond to the haters, or just don't respond to this, or just don't do that. Like that doesn't in and of itself fix the problem, because like the guy comes in, he catches the last 5 minutes of a 4-hour conversation, assumes something, and types in chat, wow, you're a pretentious dick. The chat goes, well, just don't don't let it bother you. Don't respond to him. Okay, let's say you did that. Let's say you didn't do that. Everything you just described still happens, because even if you ignored him, he still came in, misunderstood, made an assumption. And even if you ignore him and you don't make it a bigger deal, he still might then go and then comment on our YouTube videos, or go in other people's chat and be like, yo, that Veritas guy or that Jesse Kazam guy. So it's like ignoring them. It's like part of it is an understanding that there is no solution, because like you said, there just isn't enough time in the day to then go back and re-provide context to every single person that misunderstands. But like the solution isn't just like, oh, ignore them, or, oh, don't worry about it. Because like at that point, by the time that person wrote that chat message, they have done the thing. They have misunderstood. They have made an assumption based on that misunderstanding. And then and that's still hard. You know what I mean? That's like still a hard reality. So it's not as simple as just don't worry about it, because the thing that we want to avoid still has happened,
Yeah, and see, here's the thing: like, this is such a double-edged sword, and a little bit of this is me venting a little bit for listen, I don't have to justify what I want to talk about. Why?
No.
It's my podcast. I'm gonna do it. All right. I'm not gonna justify it. One of the things that to me is it's such an important aspect of this is that, and this will get into a great little segue later, like the most perfect of possible segues.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that people tell me that the way in which I need to deal with things, a very common one is stop focusing on the haters.
Yeah.
And they're doing that, like, for your mental health, you need to stop focusing on the haters.
Yeah.
Now, the most complex irony ever is that I went through therapy and still am, and a considerable amount of the progress that I made in therapy, it was me being able to read people either in chat or Reddit posts or Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
Them saying either untrue or insulting or whatever.
Yeah.
Or unconstructive criticisms about like a science video or whatever. About me being able to read that and to have it not internally affect me in a way that like I would feel like this, my brain would say, this person doesn't understand you. You should try to explain it to them, because you might be able to change their mind. But you don't want to be misunderstood, Mike. You don't want to be misunderstood,
dude,
because you're a good, reasonable, rational person. If this person thinks you're a piece of shit, well then, because in real life, if I had somebody who was upset with me, I would be like, yo, let's talk.
Yep. And
in real life, that works.
Or if you just knew the person did understand where you're coming from, but just flat out disagreed with you. Like if you were like, the guy was like, I'm a flat earther. You don't get, that's less offensive, because you're like, oh, we're just, that's okay. But when somebody misunderstands you or says something about you that you're not, that's where the tension comes from.
So for so long, my issue was that would really bother me to the point where I would need to address it, because I thought I could change something about it. And that was the problem, because the breakthrough that I had in therapy was coming to the obvious rationalization. And this is a lot of what therapy is just coming to terms with the obvious.
Yeah.
That like, oh, like, of course, there's no way that everybody's going to like you and everybody's going to understand you.
Yeah.
When I see that there are Jesse Kazam haters and I see you're the least hateable person, that to me is like, oh, okay, well, now I just know that it's impossible to not have people that don't like you. And then I think about just the fact that I'm opinionated and I have strong opinions that I communicate, and people. So of course people are going to disagree with me.
Yeah.
And I made progress towards that, right? Now then, fast forward to therapy has been going well. I'm dealing with things a lot better. And I took a 4-month break from Tarkov.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like, maybe I think now would be a good time to like see if the therapy's working, dip my toes back into a little Tarkov, right? And then there's two parts of it. First, people come in and they say, "Oh no, Veritas, your mental health. You don't play Tarkov."
Yeah.
Without
Yeah.
realizing that part of this is like, this is gonna help.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna help for me to try to get back into this world and to be able to say, all right, almost do some reality testing to say, can I deal with this, a little bit better?
That's also just such a super offensive thing to say. That's
Especially from a random person.
Yeah, that's like being out in public and being like, "Are you sure you want that second cookie? I thought you were working on your weight." To somebody that did not ask your opinion about their weight.
Someone in line behind you at Starbucks.
Are you sure that's good for your mental health, bro? Are you sure you want to play Tarkov? Like, that's just...
Yeah. So then there's that. But then there's also times where people might disagree with like a comment. Or they might comment with something that's disagreement with something in my video, or they might say some dumb insult or whatever that's funny. Like, remember how we joked last time about the guy who was like, Veritas's beard game says he's a bad person.
Yeah.
See that right there? Me being able to joke about it, to see it, to not pretend like it's not there and have it not affect me is progress. And it's helpful to me.
Yeah.
Because it helps minimize the importance of it.
Yeah.
It's actually good for me to be able to point out some dumb like that and to move on and have it not affect me.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is that the people who don't know anything about me or my mental health or my state or my history, they see Veritas back in the day getting upset by haters and then now talking about haters as the same thing when they're actually two completely different worlds and two completely different mental health states.
Yeah.
But so now it's like I'm in a better mental health state doing something that is good, that my therapist is like, there's nothing wrong with that. You can joke about it. You don't have to ignore it. Just don't get upset with it and don't let it dominate, whatever. And then now more than ever, while I'm doing the thing that's helpful for me, an overly common comment that I'm constantly getting from people is, don't focus on that stuff, dude. It's bad for your mental health.
Yeah.
Which is exactly the thing that is still the hardest thing for me to deal with mental health wise, is people telling me that they think they know how I feel and pretending to be my friend and to have judgment, to be able to have perspective, to give me mental health advice and perspective. That's still something that now it's different, but that's what I'm struggling with now.
Yeah.
So now you've got a bunch of people that all mean well, but they just aren't using their heads. And you're now telling me, hey, man, your therapy is making your mental health bad. Is effectively what they're saying.
Yeah, without realizing it. Yeah.
All in the midst of being constantly playing a game where you can't trust anything. You can't trust anybody, surrounded by people who are telling me I'm constantly wrong about things that I think I'm quite informed on and pretty reasonable and rational.
Yep.
And then the other half of my interactions are people like, gifting me 50 subs, spending an overly generous amount of money, being super generous. And then it's like, on the other side of things, it's like, feel the worst you could possibly feel because you're in this impossible situation. You're acting in ways you're not happy with and you're not proud of. When I went in on the guy, it's one of those things, like, I feel like afterwards and I feel like during it, because I realize I'm not being the person I want to be. So I already know that. And then, so being told that is obviously, it makes me feel worse because they're right, but still you, but they're right.
But yeah.
And as I do that, I say that someone donates 50 gift subs
right now
in my chat to me right now, just like right now. So it's like, I'm constantly in the deepest pits of despair. And then I have to thank someone for giving me a bunch of money. I really wish I could explain to people who have never been in this situation the like roller coaster.
Emotional whiplash. Yeah, it's emotional whiplash. It's complete.
I can feel my heartbeat in my skull, dude. Like now.
You know what's funny is you just described parenting, being a parent. It's like in so many moments of
Oh, let's see more reason for me to be a parent.
Yeah.
Give it to me. Tell
like
me why.
no, but for real, it's like that exact feeling of like constantly acting the way you don't want to act, being aware that you don't want to act that way, but every single day at so many points being the complete opposite side, feeling the complete opposite side of that emotion as well. Just the emotional whiplash of like, I want to throw you out the window. Oh my God, I couldn't love you anymore. And then the same thing, dude, like my 4-year-old has gotten to the point where he can now tell me what I did wrong. Like if I overreacted, he'll be, so like he did the wrong thing, I overreacted, and he'll be like, why'd you yell at me? And I'm like,
damn, holy. How do you articulate to your little kid, like, because I maybe didn't get enough sleep and I acted irrationally?
What a mental, it's like, I still need to address the original thing you did that you did wrong. Like, I need to address that in a way that you understand you did that wrong. I also reacted wrong. I need to convey to you, A, that you did something wrong, B, that I'm sorry I reacted in a wrong way. I want to react in a better way. And I have to do that through the lens of a 4-year-old being like, you can't yell at me. And you're like, I'm going to die. I'm going to implode and a black hole is going to form. And then 17 minutes later, you can look at them and you can just like melt and be like, I've never been happier in my entire life. This is insane. It is indescribable.
God, tell me more.
So yeah.
Fantastic birth control again. Now it's like, oh, now I see, and it's even another layer because it's like, at no point in anybody's life are they ever like stable enough with their own that they should be able to bring another life into the world.
No,
and then know that everything they're doing and all of their imperfections are all molding the mental health of another, eventually full-grown human being.
It's crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
crazy. Man.
But I get it. I think it's why you and me like get along so well. I so align with that core part of your personality, the core part of you that the most frustrating thing to me is being misunderstood. It's not being disliked. It's not being hated. It's not somebody saying salacious things about me. It's being misunderstood. It's being told that I think a certain way when I don't think that way. And when in a singular instant with one synapse of my brain, I can understand what I originally said, what would lead you to believe the thing that you think about me, and then want to inform you about all the other context and what you misunderstood. Like I can empathize with you and then think of all the 9 ways you're wrong in a single synapse, and then I'm overwhelmed with the desire to make sure you know. This is a question. Do you and your wife get into fights where like at the end of the fight your wife's like, I didn't realize you cared so much about that? And I'm like, I didn't care about the original thing at all. What I cared about was that you thought I thought this about this, and I cared that you understood that I didn't think that. But it all manifests around a singular thing, like an event. So then the other person's like, wow, you care a lot about the color of the shades. And I'm like, no, I don't.
Well, I don't think I can empathize there, but
dude, it's just that core.
But I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just like I just want to make sure you know that this is how I think. But here's
what you just said, and there's a couple people in chat who are going to know what I'm talking about because I've talked about this stuff recently, and I'm so glad you just said what you just said because that's what I've spent the last couple hours talking to my therapist about. One of the biggest things I struggle with is that and this is it definitely hit a plateau over the last couple of weeks, especially because I've been quarantined with COVID, of how like alone I felt. You know, like I literally, if I go up to take a piss, I put on my mask and I don't look at my wife because I don't want to get her sick.
Yeah.
So I've just been alone in my basement, dealing with Twitch chat and YouTube comments.
Yeah.
That's been my life. And it's been a rough couple of weeks and a whole bunch of other. Now, keep in mind too that this all happened at the tail end of I got COVID at my grandfather's funeral, which was when I got back from my 2 weeks of vacation that totally put me in a really good headspace. Come back, my grandfather dies. Come back, and then I get COVID, so I have to be alone in my basement for multiple weeks. And then there's a few other things that are adjacent to this stuff that made it double extra really hard.
Yeah.
And this was after 4 months of having time off from Tarkov, feeling like so much progress was made in therapy, and then I get hit with 700 things all at once.
Yeah.
But the last couple hours of my therapy was coming to seeing that the hardest thing for me is this is why I feel so like helpless lately, and I haven't been very happy on stream. It's because I feel like the only person who knows everything that's going on. I see the full picture.
Yeah.
And yet I see everyone only sees 3% of it.
Yeah.
And the mistake I make is constantly try to explain bits and pieces to everybody to try to give them the bigger picture. But then there's just always more people coming in with 3%.
Yeah.
I see all of these people, they all think I'm a asshole, and they all think I'm the worst person. They think I'm a man-child who hates his life and all this stuff. And I know why they think that, and I can empathize with them, but it's unfair and it's wrong and it's not true.
Yeah.
And but I understand that. Yeah. And then other people come in and then they interpret my tone of voice while I'm talking about something that I'm not upset about, but I'm passionate about. And they see me being upset. And then they come in and, and then 27 new people every 2 seconds are coming in asking me the same question over and over and over and over and over again. And you know what? I'm the guy with a bunch of information that people want. It's not unreasonable that they would ask, but it's still not annoying.
Yeah.
When everybody comes in and says, hey, hey, did you interview the cheater yet? Or hey, is the cheater video going to be up on YouTube? Is it going to be on? I missed the cheater interview, didn't I? It's going to be up on YouTube. And it's like the same thing repeated over and over and over and over and over and over again. When like the same answer is the same answer. It's like it's in the stream VOD. You can watch it.
Yeah.
So there's no need to be upset that it's not going to be on YouTube because it's in the VOD.
Yeah.
And like you could be watching it right now. But it's again, people just might not know how Twitch works, right? So it's unreasonable for me to be upset, but it's still annoying.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm constantly upset by this state of affairs where there's just a million people all doing a million things that all are kind of rational to them.
Yeah.
But they're all confused and don't know what's going on. And somehow I'm sitting here thinking, I feel like there's a million monitors and I can see everybody.
Yeah.
But nobody can see anything else. And that makes me feel even more alone because I feel like the only person I talked about this the best way I described it to my therapist. I told her she has to watch the movie 12 Monkeys.
Okay.
Have you seen 12 Monkeys?
No.
The theme of this video, it involves some time travel and but there's an explicit thing where they do the thing in the movie where they tell you kind of the theme of the movie without telling you the theme of the movie. There's a talk that one of the main characters is giving that is about the Cassandra effect is what it's called, I think.
Okay. The
Cassandra effect. Yeah, it's like some Greek or Roman mythology, but it's basically how this person was cursed, and the curse that they were given was to know the future, but nobody would believe you. And the whole thing is Bruce Willis like knows there's a virus that's gonna kill it's gonna kill like almost all of humanity. Because he's from the future before it's killed 98%, and he ends up in like a mental institution because of course nobody's gonna believe him. But it's the curse of the Cassandra complex. It's the curse of having all this information and yet nobody believes you.
Yeah.
Now for me, it's they don't believe me or they don't understand me.
Yeah.
There's not really a massive distinction. It's very similar.
Yeah.
But it's just I'm constantly having to explain like concepts like Steam audio, for example, and why everybody gets it wrong. And then I still have people in the comments saying the things. It's like this impossible thing where no matter what I do, people don't understand me. And then as I'm talking about this, someone mentioned in chat, and it was like a nice comment. I didn't get a chance to read it, but they basically said it sounds a lot like burnout. And it's like to me, it's not burnout. It's
Yeah.
it's like distinct from that.
Yeah.
But again, that's just an example of like someone well-meaning being like, oh, it sounds like this. Like this is your problem.
Yeah.
So it's just more of the.
And it's hard to reconcile that. It's hard to reconcile, a metric ton of well-meaning bad advice. One or two, you're like, thank you, you know what I mean? But it's just like, it's just hard. It's just great.
How can you
Great.
constantly have people giving you well-meaning but kind of ill-informed
Yeah.
advice? How can you deal with that in a way that is like efficient
Yeah.
and also doesn't make you come off like a pretentious douchebag?
Yeah.
Because the only thing you could say is, no, I appreciate it, thank you. It's so hard to genuinely be like, thank you so much for the advice, but I disagree, or to pretend like just move on from it and be like, thank you for the advice. I'll keep that in mind. I'll take that into consideration when you don't really mean it, because it's,
Yeah,
so
it's hard. It's hard for sure.
I don't know, but that's just what I've been dealing with. This is the joke that it's the mauled cast, that this is like my therapy session, whatever. I mean, maybe it is. Some people like to hear that. Maybe this is the episode you don't like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I needed this
For sure.
because I don't get to talk to anybody about this. When I talk to when I vent while I'm streaming to Twitch and there's not a Jesse Kazam to hear me and to be like, oh, okay, yeah, and then it's just people don't quite understand, or they just got here, and then I realize, like, then I regret it. Like, why did I even try to vent?
Yeah.
The Twitch chat, like, this was a mistake, thinking this was gonna go well, and then and now I'm mad at myself.
Yep.
So I'm just constantly mad at myself for feeling like I do, and then doing what I do.
And then people are constantly coming in.
And then people tell me, people need to point that out to me, and then naturally I need to deal with that in a productive thing.
Yeah.
Basically, all I'm saying is that I'm a work in progress. If you don't like me, you don't like me, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm a human being. I'm doing my best. It's going to take me time. It's going to take me months. It might be years. And the first 32 years of my life, I had never had mental health issues, never had interpersonal issues. I was always every teacher's favorite. I always had bosses that loved me.
Yeah.
I wasn't the most popular person or whatever, but I never had enemies in school. I was never involved in drama. All of this stuff is, I'm not built for the internet.
Yeah.
But I'm trying, and it's going to take some time for me to deal with the, entity that is the internet.
Yeah.
And trying to square the circle of, like, how do I take what I do in real life that works and make it work in this completely not real life medium? Yeah.
In a way that you feel excited and productive and kind, and in a way that is entertaining, and just all the different plates that are in the air when you're live trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Now, here's the best part. I can't think of a better, like a more perfect, more appropriate segue.
Yep.
Into probably the weirdest, but first, actual legitimate sponsor of the podcast.
Yep.
Some of you might be familiar with BetterHelp.
Yep.
Actually, a sponsor.
Actually, thank you. Let's take a moment to thank our sponsor, BetterHelp.
This is like literally the most real and sincere sponsorship I think we could have ever taken. And it's one that you and I, that I've mentioned this before in the past.
Yeah.
How I've wanted for a long time. And I'm so glad this came across our desk.
Yep.
Because BetterHelp is literally where I found the therapist that I have now. And it's made a massive...
Yeah.
And I know it's maybe hard to, to believe. But I actually feel like I've made a massive improvement in my mental health in many ways. after having found a therapist through BetterHelp, and I had heard about it, from other folks that have had sponsorships. But basically, if you don't know, BetterHelp is a platform that provides like online mental health services.
Yeah.
Counseling. You can have video calls. There are times where you can just have audio calls. There's chat, text chat, with, properly credentialed, licensed therapists, all that stuff. But it's extremely affordable. It's extremely convenient, and there's a ton of flexibility in what you can do, who you can talk to.
Yeah.
If you want to switch therapists, it's actually like really easy.
Yeah.
So the barrier to entry is so much lower than like normal therapy, having to go and find, maybe get a referral or go and, set up a schedule and meet people in real life. I mean, that's just, it's hard and it's a lot.
It really feels like the potential for therapy and counseling was like unlocked by the internet, not something that's trying to adapt to the internet. Because you're absolutely right. You have to find somebody, you have to find a referral, you drive down to their office, you're not sure if you like them, and then it's like, if you don't like them, you start calling around, you know what I mean? Like, you see them, but then what if something happens midweek? You get their office number, you leave a message. Like, it's crazy how much it's like these are all licensed, properly credentialed people. You can swap to somebody. You can find somebody you can connect with. You have the text chat. You can send them messages throughout the week, and if they get to them, they can respond outside of that time. It's crazy. It feels like it was almost like this is the next step. This is the perfect way to do this.
Yeah. And what happens when you finally do all that hard work, and then the first person you meet with you just don't get along with very well, and then it's like, well, now I guess I'm not just going to therapy, right?
Yeah.
What ended up happening with me? Really quick anecdote. This will be slightly longer than a normal ad, but
it just
because
fits so well.
It's so relevant here that I really want to like do this justice. The first person I had actually met with, it was an older gentleman, and we just didn't vibe very well.
Yeah.
And I literally ended up the like mental horror, emotional horror of having to like call and be like, I don't want to go back or like talk to the person. That scares the hell out of me. I literally went through, clicked a couple of buttons, and then set up an appointment with someone else.
Yeah.
It was like, no, it was the easiest thing ever. I didn't, nothing personal. There was no barrier to entry. And then I got matched up with, it was actually a woman from like Eastern Europe. And I'm thinking, God, this is not, but she's actually local to me in my state.
Oh,
but it was, just it's where she's from. And I just remember this isn't going to work. And now here we are. We sit down and she's like, how's Tarkov been?
That's
how's
so crazy.
Been? It's like, it's fantastic. And again, this like, it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened if there was not a platform like BetterHelp that was able to make it so accessible. And like, you don't have to be, it's not limited to just depression.
No.
There are people who sometimes they're in a funk, they need motivation. Sometimes they need maybe couples counseling. Maybe, they're dealing with frustrations and bullying at school.
Just
maybe
anxiety.
There's a million things. Like, life sucks right now, guys. A lot. We're all going through some, right?
Yeah.
And I cannot stress enough how much of a life-changing thing it can be to be able to have somebody to talk to without worrying about the shame of your friends not getting you and judging you and whatever. It really is life-changing.
Yeah. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It was so perfect. Veritas had specific history with BetterHelp. I know people specifically that have had history with BetterHelp. And I spent, after I got married, I was in therapy for almost 2 years. And I still to this day tell people that it is singularly one of the most foundational forming things to who I became as an adult, having somebody to talk to. So, yeah, I cannot recommend it enough as something to do with your life. The way I was talking about it the other day was like, we, in theory, we eat healthy, not to get us well from being sick, to prevent us from being sick. So you don't have to be in the worst state of your life. I know that there's a financial aspect to it, so I understand not everybody can do it, but like being able to convey and talk to somebody that is trained to talk and like call these things out of you and make you better is such a good preventative thing to help you grow as a person. And then additionally, if you are struggling with something, it is, I implore you to at least consider it. It's convenient, accessible, affordable, and entirely online. So yeah, thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/podcast to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/podcast. I think Veritas do it in the chat. It'll be in the descriptions of all the things. But yeah, thank you so much, BetterHelp, for sponsoring the podcast.
And for helping me with my ongoing struggle to try to be a better person
on the internet.
Yeah.
So all that being said, in the land of Tarkov, I didn't even DM this to you because, like, you know what's crazy, man? It's like I always try to be the guy that like DMs Veritas and be like, you know, I know the guy. It's like, hey, have you seen this? And every time you're like, I know, chat's asked me 600,000 times. You know what I mean? So I didn't even like send this clip to you today. But have you seen everything going around with this new? People are calling it the lean bug. But there's like a clip of Landmark floating around.
Yeah, I had the fortunate the opportunity to have someone come into my chat and go, everybody go watch Landmark. He's doing some crazy now. It's like, oh, cool. Yeah, no, he needs my viewers.
Welcome to the chat.
He needs my viewers. Everybody, let's go watch it.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it. I just know some details.
So
about it.
So basically, if you're taking a right side peek, instead of using E to lean to the right and then move your character to the left to hold as tight of an angle as you possibly can, if you actually move out of the angle a little bit, like to the right, and expose yourself, and then do the little slow lean to the left. The idea, once again, I know nothing, but the idea is, I guess, like where the camera comes out, where your vision isn't directly centered in your eyeballs. It's like off to the right a little bit. So you can expose and then you can lean into cover. And on your end, like if I was fighting you and I was the one abusing the mechanic, I can see you. I can see your head, my gun, my laser will still go past the cover. I can see you and shoot you and kill you. And all you can see is this much of my elbow. And that was the Landmark clip. And then me and Velian recreated this in Raid from both perspectives. And literally, like I had my character locked into my lean, and then I pulled up Velian's stream so my stream could see both things. And like he could only see my elbow and I could see his head. And then he moved out of the way and I shot to make sure the bullet would actually come out of my gun and hit the thing. And it like hit the thing, the bullet hole. And then when Landmark did the testing, he did it where he had the viewer. So Landmark was Chicken Wing Man. He was the one like abusing the mechanic. And then he had his viewer. He was like, all right, shoot along the cover, like you where my head would be if it could see me. And the dude was shooting and the bullets weren't hitting. The dude had to wall bang Landmark to hit him. So like, it's super interesting.
So wait, is it slow leaning moving? Is like there's something about slow leaning that is like moving the camera?
No, it's
different from your player model.
No. It's just that you can tighten everything up. It's like, I guess the working theory is just that the camera is more off to the right than centered with your face. So by doing that, you can kind of like lean your face behind cover, but still see the person, and then that person can't see you. I have no. That's just somebody told me that. I have no idea if that's true. But practically, what ends up happening in Raid is that the guy can see the enemy, and the enemy cannot see him.
I'm watching the clip right now.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get. What the?
Yeah, so you see what I mean? Like Landmark can clearly see the head of the person and shoot
Wait,
them.
so this isn't what is it that caused this? Like, is there something that puts you in this state?
No, it's just basically he's holding a corner and leaning to the left a bit. But it's not like the camera gets detached or anything. It's just like, I guess, abusing where the camera is placed or something. I don't know.
Wait, I can't tell. Is Landmark leaning?
Yes, very slightly to the left. The slow lean, he like did 10% of the slow lean to the left. Yeah, it's weird. So I am no science. I'm not claiming I have an exact understanding of how this works. People are throwing around this idea that the camera's off center. That could be true. It could be something retroactively made up. I don't know. But all I know is that I saw this clip, and then me and Valiant did it, and it's happening. It's happening.
Oh no!
You can
wait.
You can get to the perspective of not everybody has the same vision.
Wait, no. So I'm trying to understand everything people are saying in chat versus what I'm seeing. It looks to me like, God, people don't know how to clip things, man. Just for context. Yeah.
I can send you the clip of me and Valiant working on it.
The way that people are describing it is that when they lean one way and then lean back, that your character doesn't lean back.
They're overcomplicating it. This is how we got this exact same result, just like you and me, Verita. Forget chat. We got this exact same result you see with Landmark by doing this. I was on Customs Dorms, 3rd floor. All right, I crouched, I stepped out to the right, and I slowly to the left a tiny bit. That's it. And we got the exact same result. Those were the steps. You don't need to lean and then lean back. You just boop.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely not asking, like, Veritas, explain this to me. I was just saying, had you seen it?
No, I know. I guess I'm saying, like, I don't exactly understand.
Oh, me either. It just sucks because it's...
No, I'm saying I don't even understand the ways in which this is, like, initiated.
Yeah.
Because, like, what I'm seeing from this clip from Landmark is not... I don't think he's leaning on his screen. But his character's cocked all the way to the side. But again, I can't tell because the person who clipped it doesn't look like they included the lean...
Yeah.
In the beginning, he's just standing there.
Yeah.
So in that case, what it looks to me like is there's it's desync between character state.
Yeah.
So he on Landmark's screen, it looks like he is standing straight, which explains why he can see the guy when he's standing right on the edge of the. He can see him perfectly because he's standing up straight. But the guy looking at him, you see him cocked to the side, so his head's behind cover.
Yeah.
That to me.
Yeah. So yeah. So you're saying it looks like the state of Landmark is vertical, but then from the other person's perspective, the state of him is fully leaned. And this because those two things are because in a live raid, the server is telling these clients two different states about Landmark. They get completely different perspectives.
Yeah, so then I guess like I'm trying to square that with what you said.
Yeah.
Which is like when you lean, you're like, because we can do this when I just lean. So are you saying that you could just sidestep, lean, and did you sidestep and lean while on the corner? Like, is that you initiated that and then now you have your two like angles that you're looking at to compare?
Yeah, basically what happened was like normally what you do is you would get behind cover really far and then hold E and lean to the right so you're just like looking. But like the way we set it up, I think one of my mods is trying to go back and clip it. I think I have a local clip somewhere, but I can like find it from my perspective. But like it's basically I was just like crouched. Like me and Veritas, or sorry, me and Valiant were both looking at each other. He can see me and I can see him. And then I lean to the left a little bit and like just like get the angle just right. I'm not like going all the way and then coming back. We're both vertical. We're both seeing each other. We can both see each other's faces. And then I lean a little bit and I can still see him. And I'm like, what can you see? He's like, I can't see you. I can only see your elbow. And then I just,
you don't happen to have do you have both perspectives on screen at the same time, like landmarks clip?
yeah.
I would like to see that clip because yeah, what you're talking about sounds like it might literally just be something different. But that's what my instincts are telling me.
Yeah. I will once again I will find it and send it, but or one of my mods might do a little timestamp for us. But yeah. It's
so I yeah, that's I don't know what to make of it, but
yeah, it's weird. Ultimately, you know, how it ends up just manifesting is just that it is this like super weird thing where it's like the one person has way more vision than the other person. To the guy that's going to die, he might think, oh, he's right there. He's about to peek. You know, this guy's shots would go into that wall or this guy's shots would go into that. He doesn't know that I'm holding the angle. And then you just fall over dead. You know what I mean?
I mean, ultimately what this is it's another example of the game constantly making you not trust anything you like.
Exactly. And what's crazy to me about this is just that, like, if this has always been in the game, then how it's kind of crazy that people are just finding out about it. If something have changed, I don't know what would have changed because it doesn't feel like, there was an update or anything. So I don't know.
I mean, yeah, dude. This is just more of it's just more things that basically, like before, it was Peeker's advantage.
Yeah.
That was just how netcode works. Well, then at one point, you know, it moved more towards, oh, well, it's desync. It's, you know, their servers are slow or whatever, so that's going to make the Peeker's advantage even worse.
Yeah.
Well, now it's not that that what you see is a second behind. You know, what you see is a second behind reality.
Yeah.
And that's why you're always dying behind walls or whatever. Now it's a second behind reality, and literally they're not just like time-wise sweeping out before. Now they're visually both seeing you earlier. Like they're seeing you a second before their packets make it to you. No, actually, they're seeing you a second before you would be able to see them, which is a second before the packets of them being able to see you are on screen, which is why you're constantly getting shot around corners or by people who insta-peek you.
Yeah. And that's a really important distinction, that like the difference between something just being out of sync and the time interpolation being different, or the time being the same and the states being different. And then
it's literally worse than that. Yeah. It's worse than the time being different.
And then when both things can happen in a raid, that's brutal.
And then you have people walking around with overlays.
Oh, hold on. My mod might have found it.
Yeah, we got it here. Let's take a look.
Oh, yeah.
There might be a brief moment of silence here for all of you listening audio-wise so that we can...
We did this for a few minutes, so I'm not sure exactly. This is Velian doing it, so this is the other perspective. We ended up switching. And then Velian's stream is delayed from mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, this to me feels maybe different.
Yeah, I don't see how this could be different because it's manifesting the exact same way where like Valiant can see me and I can't see him, and you know, I can see the
But
exact
that's a
same
fundamental
amount of
aspect of
him.
geometry, though, like of the way that. How do I
I mean,
explain it?
that close to a wall, you know what I mean? That close to cover. If I don't know. We ended up flipping it around and doing it the other way. I can put together like a little video that shows like how he did it, how I did it, both of our perspectives and stuff like that. That's a hard thing, but yeah, I don't know. Weird. Ultimately, the important thing is exactly what you said, is that like it seems like a status thing where like it's separate from desync, it's separate from um something being out of time, and this is just like another thing that you can't trust what you see
Well,
and
wait a
hear.
minute. Well, I'm seeing something that is massively significant that nobody pointed out.
What, in which clip?
Open up the clip and go to 35 seconds.
Whose clip? My clip?
Yours.
Okay. Okay.
Wait.
35 seconds. We'll put this clip in the chats, by the way, if you're listening to this later.
Why when I'm looking at this does it look at the elbow up top?
At like 35 seconds?
Yeah. So you see the elbow of the person.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like this in Streamception's confusing me. I'm trying to figure out who the I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So that's Velian. Why is it that on his screen it looks like he's going? I see this like leaning back and forth. It's like double backwards. He's not moving.
Yeah.
On his screen, he's not leaning.
Oh, yeah, but you see his like flashlight.
He's not even swaying.
Oh, that is weird. The flashlight
So
in the...
Yeah, what I was going to say at first, my brain saw that and it looked like, I'm like, yo, he's leaning back and forth. I'm like, but that's not showing on his screen. But then I realized, wait, he's the one that's leaning. So it's almost like his model is showing him moving when he's actually not moving, which is the opposite. Why is this so weird?
That's weird.
Doesn't it look like he's leaning back and forth?
Yes. And what's weird is like, I was like, well, he killed a scav, but he killed the scav at the beginning of the clip. So this is after. So his is the only flashlight on in that part of the clip. And it's like swinging back. Yo, dude, I don't know. It is super weird.
Yeah, we also got to take into consideration the delay when I see this. 1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, you son of a bitch. You dragged the thing off screen as soon as I was going to see how long it was going to take for him to like get up and walk away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
People are saying the flashlight was only showing on side. You mean on one side? Is that what you're trying to say? Because no, it's, I mean, you can see the flashlights on the other side. It's just, their lighting sucks balls. You can see it on the wall.
Yeah.
You can't see like the ambient reflection of the flashlight that would be bouncing off of the wall behind you. Like you don't see that.
Yeah.
But dude, are you sure that that was Velian that you were doing this testing with and it wasn't another person in another raid?
Dude, I am 1,000,000% positive. Yeah. Yeah. And then we flipped and I ran around and I did the same thing to him. I was like, let me lean and figure out how to do it. And then I was looking over at his stream and it was the same thing. It was like, he's, oh yeah, there's me. Reverse just
wait.
Put the thing in. I guess I do lean to the left first. Oh wait, that's a long clip. Towards the end is when I finally figure it out because at first I'm just having him explain to me what to do.
Whoa! Wait a minute. Oh God, now this is making sense. When you're watching in the first clip,
yeah,
Are you watching? Is that a clip? That's his
No,
stream.
I'm watching Valiant live. It's just delayed because I'm watching it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I mean, that's only a couple of
Yeah, a couple of
seconds,
seconds. Yeah,
right?
but I'm watching him live. Like I just pulled his stream up onto my.
But you're not in game doing anything. Like you're not aiming down sights. Like I'm trying to make sense of this.
Not
You're not
in the
in game
first
aiming
clip.
down sights. You're not moving or anything. Okay. So just trying to.
Yeah, because in the first clip, I'm just the
Are
one
there
standing.
3 of you, or are there only 2?
No, it's just 2. In the first clip, I'm just the one standing in the doorway, looking at the chicken wing.
Okay, now let me pull up your side.
It's a long clip and it's about halfway through. What's hard about my side is that my side doesn't provide a lot of context because I don't pull Valiant's stream back up. Like basically, in order to really give you an accurate picture, I would need to go get Valiant's whole thing, get my whole thing, and like do some side by side and sync it up. You know what I mean? In this, I just was like, "Can I try it?" And I tried it, and then he was like, "Yeah, like I can't see you at all." So that's not gonna provide a whole lot, but it's interesting.
God, all I have to say is that in order for me to understand this, I need to do the testing because usually what we end up with in these scenarios,
Yeah,
is a bunch of people showing some broken in ways that like don't, not that like
yeah,
other people clipped this stuff.
yeah.
It's not like you put together a video explaining the
Correct.
bug, right? So it's just more questions.
Oh yeah,
I don't understand.
That's what I'm saying though. I'm not coming to you with this being like, this is it. This is how I understand it. You know what I mean? This is like, all I'm saying is that like it's repeatable. I don't know what the mechanics of it are, but like basically all I wanted to know was like, was that like a crazy edge case scenario where he's playing with somebody in Korea and their ping is not like, you know what I mean? What's happening? Like, can I the only science I want to do, because I know I'm not going to make a video and so I don't feel responsible to like know everything. Whenever somebody comes to me with a bug, I'm like, how repeatable is it? Can I do it right now on command? And me and Valiant did it, and then we switched and we did it again. And I was like, oh damn, I can do that on command. That's frustrating. And then we just went about our days. So like, that's all my whole perspective of the situation is. But it's just becoming a thing where like the rest of the day I heard 100 times the rest of that stream. Have you heard about the lean bug? Have you heard about the lean bug? Have you heard about the lean bug? So it's something that's like spreading. And then because when you lean, you know how like if you, well, I guess it depends on how you set your controls, but like if I hit Q to lean left, I'll lean left. And when I let go of Q, I come back upright. But with my Alt A and D, with my slow leans, if I let go, my character remains in that state. So we already saw people where like they were like, somebody in my chat was like, I think he was doing that because you can do that. And then because you're remaining in that state, you can let go of everything, hit D and strafe. So you basically like get a little bit of information before, like early on the strafe, and you can like pre-fire better and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my God, this is just too much for me. I'm just going to play the game normal, you know? But like, it's just, ultimately it's just a frustrating thing, exactly like you said, where I'm just like, damn, another thing to be frustrated about when I die and not know if it's a cheater or if it was somebody that was just like, you know, abusing this thing, looking at me through a wall, you know? But yeah.
Oh God.
And I'm not even saying like, Veritas, please test and understand. It was just like, had you seen it, really?
You see, here's the thing though, like,
now you must test and understand. Yeah.
Because I can't like look at this and not just get to the bottom of it. I hate having this like unknown thing looming over. And part of it is also because I just hate all of the boneheaded speculation.
Yeah, that I get. That I totally get.
So it's like I just need to find the answer out so that I can tell everybody.
So that
I can actually be the only person who does real proper testing with any amount of analysis to come up to the answer, to be told I'm wrong by people who saw a clip from Landmark and suddenly that gave them the answer,
saw the first thing they saw was somebody go, the camera's off center, and so they're like, why are you doing all this testing? It's as simple as the camera's off center, and you're like, I want to die. Yeah. But yeah, it's It's wild, man. It's wild. We had some like absolute insane raids today, dude. Like I had the most emotional whiplash of a raid. I was playing with
I'm
Valiant.
listening. Keep talking.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. I was playing with Valiant, and then Stints came along. So it was 3 of us. We were on labs. We were trying to get samples, stims, so he could get samples done. And we, you know, the glass offices where you break to get in, and there's just like bookshelves and safes, and then the you know, the hallway, it's up, top, down, and then there's the double doors that lead to like the kitchen. So like that side. So we were down that hall, and we were fighting somebody, and I kill one, and then Valiant dies, and he was like, yo, I just died to a cheater. And then Stints dies, and he was like, yeah, that felt kind of sus. And so then I get into a fight with these guys, and I'm like, I said, if they're cheating, they're really bad, because like I gave them opportunities to kill me and they didn't. And Valiant was like, I don't know, man, like that seemed really sus. And then the other guy, the third guy, was like, I died to I Am Pizza Man. So then the guy in VoIP goes, hey, Tony, is that you? Because he just saw pizza. He thought Landmark. And I was like, yeah, totally. And he was like, nah, no shot. You don't sound like him. I'm like, dude, that's my fake stream voice. This is my real voice. You're going to cheat on me? I'm Landmark, bro. Don't cheat on me. And we go back and forth for a little bit. And he's like, yo, you're not Landmark, but you sound familiar. And then he's like, no, and then he goes, hold on. And he literally like opens up my stream and goes, oh my God, it's you. It's Jesse Kazam. He's like, I have my knife out. And he just like runs in, and I hear his teammate. So I had already killed one. Then he just runs in, and then his teammate is just coughing, hacking up a lung, because I had shot him in the stomach, and he was like super hurt. And I was like, yo, where's your teammate? And he's like, oh, he's back there. He's like, we're chill. And it was just like super weird. He was like, it would be an honor to die to you. So I just shoot him in the face, because like I wasn't sure, and I was like, I don't want to go down this road. So I just shoot him in the face. And then I start running to swing on this teammate that's coughing up a lung, because now that I've killed his friend, he's going to try and kill me. And Veritas, as I'm running, in one singular frame, my mod went down. The teammate appeared in front of me. He wasn't behind cover. He was in front of me.
Just like Minecraft Enderman, like, dude, just sound effect.
Boom. And I go, what? And I just like point fire and I kill him. And I'm like, chat, what the hell is going on? So emotional roller coaster. They're like, I died to cheater. And then I got into a fight with them, and I was like, yo, if they were cheating, they had plenty of opportunity to kill me. And then we had the whole VoIP interaction, and then the guy just appears out of nowhere. I was like, this guy teleported in front of me. But then after the raid, I got out with all their stuff. I look at Valiant's clip, and Valiant was like, after I watched it back, it could have been like really bad desync. He was like, I'll give you that. He's like, I'm not sure. It could have been bad desync. And I watched the clip, and it was. I mean, it's like it could have gone either way. The guy just like swung super fast and just first shot, boom, to the dome for Valiant. So it was like sketch either way. And then I was like, yeah, but the guy teleported right in front of me. Like, this is... And then somebody in chat sent me a clip of 2 other streamers, one that I play with all the time, and they're on labs, and they're duoing. They're not fighting each other. And the one is like, bro, I can't see you. And then the other walks forward and appears. And then they try and recreate it, and they can't. They think it's like a spot on the map, and they can't recreate it. So I just was like, I don't know what to think. The original interaction was kind of sus, but then it was a super legit fight, and then I VoIPed at him, and then I thought he teleported, but then I have evidence of 2 people that I really don't think are cheating. They experienced the same thing. And I was like, I don't know what to feel anymore. I'm just like, I just die, and I just can't even try and process it anymore. It's just like, it's just out of control. It's just out of control. And then there's like 86 different spots on labs where you can drop your backpack in the middle of the floor. And you can only see the backpack if you stand in one particular place. If you move anywhere else, the backpack disappears.
So everything you just said.
Makes me sad.
Why? Okay, all the context, right? All
Yeah.
of that about all the stuff I talked about, all the stuff you've talked about, and then when people say, "Dude, I'm just so excited for Streets," or
Yeah.
where's the content?
Yeah.
And then now, like, I hope at least one person has the epiphany, like, oh, well, that explains Veritas's mood for the last 8 months, because it's like I just have nothing but these wild, broken ass, completely untrustworthy scenarios. But then like everybody, and this is, some of this is perception.
Yeah.
Not necessarily reality to some extent, but like the impression I get is that everybody else is playing the game and it's fine. Everybody's playing the game. They don't have sus encounters. All these other streamers that came out of nowhere that have all a bajillion viewers, they've all been playing the game, and they have really good stats and lots of money, and they don't complain about anything. And it's almost like they're playing the not broken, not sus filled game. And once again, I'm just wondering, like, what universe do I live in?
Yeah.
Am I playing the same game?
Yeah, they're
Is
not.
it me?
They're not.
Is it?
If you hang on, they have good stats and they have a lot of money, but it's bad for everybody, and most of us and everybody complains about it, including myself. I'm not saying like streamers complain. We talked about that for an hour on stream because I couldn't get out of my head how ridiculous it was that after 6,000 hours of playing this game, I still can't tell you if those guys were cheating or not. You know what I mean? Like, so, but yeah, it's everybody. Everybody's feeling it for sure. Just pop into a few streams, man, and it's like, woof.
Yeah, well, the chances that I don't like popping into other streams because it's actually a non-0% chance I pop in the first thing I see randomly, even though I didn't stream the last 48 hours and I haven't done anything at all. I pop in and the first thing I see is someone saying that I'm a salty dickhead, and I see that highlighted in chat of some random person stream. I'm gonna like resub for 17 million months, and it's like, oh,
yeah.
Well, I guess I don't feel like hanging around streams because, but man.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so busted.
It's so busted. It's all of these things. It feels like all of the separate things that we have been complaining about are like colliding into like everything. Like, I know that doesn't make sense because if audio was always bad and desync was always bad, it's just always been bad. But for some reason, just like this gut feeling, it just feels like this wipe has been the wipe of like everything running into each other. You get a no audio bug, and in the same fight, you get really bad desync. You know what I mean? There's like a new, pop-in thing, and there could have been and there was a cheater in the same raid where there was an actual game-breaking bug that had nothing to do with cheaters, but there was also a cheater in that raid. And all of these things felt separate. You would just get no audioed, and you'd be mad about it, or you would just get desynced. But this feels like the wipe where, there's a cheater in the raid, and there was a no audio bug that had nothing to do with cheaters, and there was desync, and then there's like a new bug where you can't see people and they're lean, and it happens all in a fight. And you're like, and I'm like, what game am I playing? You know what I mean? Like that, like this for some reason has felt like that wipe for me.
Yesterday was the perfect I was in like the Tarkov category for like 14 hours or 13 or however long, like all day.
Yeah.
Some of that was doing the interview, but I played a lot of raids. And it was honestly, I feel like the perfect, I should go through and just count up and like, it was a perfect statistical sampling of like my experiences. The first raid was a great raid where I killed like 2 PMCs, killed all the raiders in reserve in the basement. Yeah. I did the classic Veritas. I'm getting in a fight. We're shooting. We're not VoIPing. We're actually using voice comms back and forth. Yeah. I was doing the immersion raid, went through, and then all of a sudden I threw a grenade. Actually, no, what? He threw a grenade to try to flush me out, but I saw it landed halfway down the hallway. So what I did was rather than fall back and like peek, hold the angle, I went forward and proned and held because I figured people throw the grenade and then that's when they peek as the dust is clearing. And he peeked right in and it was like blasted his head and he was dead. Right? It was like the classic Veritas prone in the hallway when the guy isn't ready for you. And that was the first raid. And then I had maybe 15 raids after that that were all in a row, me dying to like the annoying, you get in an aim duel with somebody, you have the aim punch while your vision's blurred, you don't see anything, all your bullets are going perfectly over their head, and the whole time what you were trying to do was sneak, but you couldn't sneak, so instead you had to go aggro, but you went to go run and you got stuck on a 1-inch branch,
cardboard box,
so then you get stuck and you get blown up by the grenade or whatever, like the annoying thing. So it was like getting totally owned by the janky ass movement inertia mechanics.
Yeah.
And then a raid after that, it was I got, because of some other annoying, I got everything blacked out except my legs. And then it just so happened that also I had no energy and no hydration. So I just stood there with a blacked out head, blacked out stomach, blacked out thorax, blacked out arms.
And died.
Like, and it was just like, well, I've got 14 seconds to live because I'm down. I started the raid with 30 energy because I didn't, eat in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So then I died of that. So then it's like annoying game mechanics, annoying movement, annoying inertia. And then I had a string of 5 just total deaths in a row that were sus. And then I had like 5 deaths in a row that were Tarkov, where you're running, you're looking
dead.
You get headshotted because somebody was just over there, and it was like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So that's Tarkov, right? That's Tarkov. But still, it doesn't make me feel any better because I spent the last 7 hours getting wrecked.
Exactly.
And then the last few raids of the day, I played Factory, and they all felt fine, all felt legit. I was just running around killing people. Everything felt normal. Everything felt reasonable. And the last death I have was the only death that felt good. And it was because I was spraying the guy. I thought I killed him, so I kind of just stopped shooting.
Yeah.
Out of instinct, it was like, oh, okay. And then I do the double take, like, oh, God. He stepped behind the pillar.
Yep.
Then I thought he died. And then he shotgunned me in the face. Was like, that was my fault.
GG.
And it was 14 hours of getting cucked by sus players or broken mechanics or the unfortunate nature of Tarkov, and one death that was like, nah, that felt good.
Yeah.
But naturally for 14 hours, the reason why I died was, well, the guy heard you and you had your flashlight, dude. Why are you so salty?
Yeah,
and that's the synopsis of the experience. Me, dude.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like, it's so rough. It's feeling like it's all coming to a head. And then, exactly. It's like, it used to be you get like full-blown Tarkov, either like a game mechanic that just feels bad or just the classic Tarkov. The dude saw you off spawn and he killed you. That would be, 1 or 2 out of your 10 raids. And then you'd have 7 or 8 that felt good. And you might die 4 of those 8 raids and win 3 in it. But it's fine because it all felt good. And then it's just like over the years, it's like of those 10 raids, it's like 2 times you're not going to hear the guy that killed you. 2 times that's going to be desync. 2 times it's going to be just something way suspicious. You're not positive it was a cheater, but you also kind of feel weird. 1, you're going to survive, and 1 death is going to be naturally. And then 1, you're going to get Tarkov'd, and you're like, this day just feels different than it used to. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the 10 raids, your mood is very different than when it used to be like 7 really legit raids, whether you lived or died. And then once or twice you just got Tarkov'd. But now the getting Tarkov'd is in the minority, and it's after you go through 6 raids of the bullcrap that you can't flip the attitude. You can't be like, at least I had a good raid. You know what I mean? You're like, you still died to the 1 tap, and it's just like so hard to.
Now, I really wish we had access to our VODs from like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to know. I'm trying my best to make sure that I'm not seeing things through rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
I just don't remember for the first like year or 2 years of really playing the game, between like 0.4, 0.5 and maybe at least around like mid 2019.
Yeah.
I was working on some stuff and was talking a whole bunch about my old Anatomy of the Firefight series, and how the reason why I don't make it anymore is because I just don't have any interesting engagements where my decisions matter.
Yeah.
Which is like, so again, I'm trying to figure out if I'm seeing things through rose-colored glasses, but I don't remember if I did a 10-hour stream. I don't like it. What it used to feel like was Tarkov was Tarkov. That whole getting shot randomly without that was like the worst of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't the mechanics constantly getting in the way or punishing you in stupid ways, like when you you get shot and then you're instantly limping because you didn't pre-med. Like, it was not, granted, like, the animations were a lot jankier and you could spam IFAK while you were running and stuff like that. But to me, that was just, it wasn't worse then because of those things. It was just they hadn't built those features yet.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like the whole that's Tarkov, it used to mean something, and what it used to mean was that's the unfortunate nature of the complexity and chaos of having these crazy, like, realistic maps that aren't built for, like, here's A and mid and B side, and everything's meant for perfect peaks and perfect angles. How it's like you run out through a doorway and it's just a wilderness with some trees and a hut. That means there's an infinite number of angles, right? No games don't typically have map design where it's that chaotic and that random, and there aren't stretches of, like, nothingness punctuated by moments of sheer chaos. That's what
getting Tarkov.
It was just things go completely crazy and they're random. Now that means something different.
I agree. The thing is,
I feel like the veterans have been saying for so long that's Tarkov, and we've meant one thing for so long, and then now it's changed to something else. But all of the new people came in and they heard that's Tarkov, and then they assume that it's not meant to be fun and the game is punishing on purpose, and that's Tarkov.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's almost, there's a disconnect.
Yeah.
And it's part of the reason why, people are like, oh, the game back then was more dog shit than it was now, and the time to kill is scuffed, and the combat sucks, and it's way better now. And I mean, like, sure, it's subjective and everything, but I also feel like that interpretation is whatever the opposite of rose-colored glasses is. It's that. Because I genuinely feel like something fundamentally has changed.
Yeah.
And the question is, I mean, maybe the answer is, well, there's just a shit ton more cheaters because there's a shit ton more players and there's a shit ton more broken things.
Yeah. And that's what's hard. That's what I ask myself is, like, it has
is
something.
Is it you or me or the game?
Yeah. No, for real. Like, that's the question is, like, is it, could we play with this developed, like, with a version of the game this developed, but with the amount of cheaters there were in 2017, with the amount of audio bugs there were in 2017, and with the amount of desync there was in 2017. You know what I mean? Like, could you shrink, like, this exact build, but only have 3,000 concurrent players and play it? What would it feel like? How good would it feel? Would it feel like the complexity that they've added to these mechanics serves that combat? Would it feel like it completely fundamentally changed that combat? Or would it be 50-50 where things need tinkering, but some things are better? Because exactly, some things I would say are pretty close to objectively, but probably subjectively better, like not being able to drag ammo and instantly fill a mag, having the medical animations, the CMS kit for when you get a blacked limb. Those serve to help combat. I pop serve kits in combat all the time. Get it off, jump out a window, then flank a guy. I like that. So it's like, where is it on the spectrum? And it's so hard to tell because of all those things, because of the sus encounters, because of the general sentiment around cheating in Tarkov, because the desync is so bad, and because the audio is so bad. It's so hard to judge the current state of Tarkov. Well, and even that, like, obviously you want to judge the current state of Tarkov, including those things, but I'm saying it's so hard to judge the current state of combat when plagued by those things, I guess is a better way of saying it.
Yeah.
But I don't say that to say you're wrong. I say that to say that you might be right. That just over the years they've lost their way, and part of what made the foundation of combat has changed, and it's for the worse. It's just like everything else, nobody would be able to agree because we don't really have a one-to-one comparison because of how the layers of the cake that we eat. You know what I mean? On top of it, like.
Yeah, I mean it's really hard. There are different things. Oh god, there's different layers of it, because like medical animations is an example of something that so many people talk about, that I don't quite understand. I don't know if they know what point they're trying to make, but like when they say combat used to be such dog shit, people just constantly running around spamming meds. Now, yes, we were running around spamming meds, but how do I even articulate like my confusion over what the people are talking about is it's a thing that we used to not have to do. It wasn't an aspect of combat that was worse. It wasn't an aspect of combat is the point. Like, so I don't God, how do I, this is one of those things I don't know how to articulate.
I got you.
Like to me, CMS kits had a major impact on like combat in the game.
Yeah.
In a way that is completely different than medical animations. How do I explain why though? It's because it added something totally different. All medical animations meant was that now you can't multitask.
Yeah.
You can only do one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Whereas like CMS kits changed the amount of time you could stay in a raid. It changed how you deal with injuries. It changed all of, but like at the end of the day, when it comes to combat, which is the way that I think about combat when I'm talking about it in this context, it's being able to maneuver your character and aim your gun and be able to hit bullets on people who are also doing the same thing.
For sure.
To me, medical anything is irrelevant in that situation. What's relevant is the way that guns feel, the way that ergonomics is, the way that
recoil,
recoil, basically everything having to do with weapon handling, having to do with sound, having to do with movement and control of your character.
Yeah, for sure.
In which case, I think everything they've done is objectively more. Some things are better, some things are worse, but overall, it's more awkward and cumbersome.
Yeah.
It might not be realistic, like just like that's what I meant when I was talking about like medical animations.
Yeah.
Like it's just more cumbersome to have to like cancel an animation if someone's pushing you, as opposed to just being able to be ready when someone pushes you.
I go.
Yeah, I don't know. This is another one of those things where like I have like this feeling that I'm trying to articulate, and I know I'm doing a really bad job.
I understand. And to be honest with you, I can't really speak to that time like you can, because like that time were like my first 2 wipes. Like, you know what I mean? Like I came into the game in 0.9 and like I had a 7% survival rate. So like the combat you were experiencing in 0.9 was different than I was, dying to scavs, every other raid, so like I was playing the game at that time, and I, you know what I mean? But like I don't really remember it as like, especially PvP as like a core part of the game. So it's hard for me to, have any colored glasses because I was just such a Timmy back then. But I understand the sense of the point that you're trying to make. And once again, I just go back to, it's so hard because it's so plagued by everything, just by the cheaters and the sus encounters and the desync and the audio being worse. I would say it's probably worse than it was in 0.9. Definitely not any better. It's so hard.
I think it's better now. Well, when did Steam Audio come out?
Oh yeah, to
me there was audio. There was pre-Steam Audio and post-Steam Audio.
Yeah,
and I think it's the sound has always been scuffed.
Yeah, for sure.
But Steam Audio genuinely made everything infinitely better, in my opinion. Now, shoot, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, it sucks. I mean, you started playing when I was like at my peak,
Yeah.
you know, and back in point 7, point 8, point 9, it's gone down since then. But I mean, I remember back in the day when I had the you know, stash full of Ford armors.
Yeah.
My KD was 30. My survival rate, my survival in a row
Streak. Yeah.
was 30 plus. My survival rate was above 70%, you know, and now I haven't had above a 34% survival rate
Yeah.
in forever. And now I play slower and more tactical and more careful than ever.
Yeah.
Because that's like the only way that I can succeed is like by doing that.
Yeah.
And even then I feel like I barely succeed then, because again, you can't sneak and people are constantly just, you're every 2 seconds you hear and you're getting shot by something you never see in the dark.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Did you see the other bug that was going on where AI weren't shooting USECs?
I didn't see anything about it. I heard about. I'm a bear, so
yeah, I'm a bear too. But yeah, like there's all these clips floating around of PMCs, just USEC PMCs just walking up to like AI scavs, jumping on their heads and just like running away. I don't know if they fixed it because I didn't hear about it as much today as I did the past few days, but yeah.
Don't worry.
Oh.
The explanation that Twitch chat has is that people got better.
Yeah.
And that's why it's harder.
That's
because War Run being in every other raid I was in is definitely easier.
Yeah.
When War Run was in every other fucking raid.
Everybody's as good as War Run was. Like now everyone's as good as
everybody's better, because I fought War Run I think maybe like 7 times, and I think I won maybe 3 or 4 of those fights.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's,
you know, but now like everybody's 3 times better than War Run because I've got like a 10% survival rate, right? I'm more likely, but everybody's better.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
All the level 11s with it's on their first wipe.
Oh my god, yeah.
And even though the game is harder than it's ever been and the movement is more awkward and it's harder to see, harder to control your weapons, you know, harder to do whatever, somehow the just the average normal whatever, they're all better than War Run.
Yeah. Dude, the amount of people I've been killing with like meta M4 or Gen 4 attack 2, and it's like level 6. That's weird. Yeah. Yep. I don't know.
Well, actually, it just occurred to me now because I have seen a little bit of weird stuff there, but like you can't flea market that for sure. Even if you're not level 15, and even if you are, you can't. You know, like I would not. I'm not going to use a hex grid. Except now I'm going to use hex grids because I can't do anything with it anyway. So I might as well wear it. So maybe that's part of the reason why people are using.
Maybe I think what more gets me is the guns, because they're all full of the attachments where it's like you need Skier 4 for this, a Jaeger 3 for this, Mechanic 4 for this, and it's like, how do you have all this? Now, of course, you could have killed a guy and then used the gun, and if you do, more power to you. I'm not even saying those people are sus. I'm just saying over thousands of hours of playing, and then all of a sudden, you know what I mean? When I kill a level 6, it's a coin flip on if he has a meta mutant or an SKS. You know what I mean? Like that's just like it's been like, oh, that's a weird thing. You know what I mean? So,
dude, nothing. That's just another example of, I think, capping this whole thing off. Nothing makes sense anymore.
Yeah, I do.
Nothing like what people do, how they play, the gear they use, the decisions they make in combat, the things that they say, the explanations that people give. None of it makes any sense.
Yeah,
dude.
I feel that. I really do.
Why I feel like the Truman Show, because I'm like, none of this. The only way that any of this makes sense, the fact that none of it makes sense, is if it's a elaborate, deliberate prank on me personally, because I am, of course, you know, the protagonist in this story.
Yeah. I always think of it in my head like the thing that I like, the visualization I have is like you've got these like 8 tribes and then a bunch of people, and it's like and the purpose of the this is like ends up just being disagree with each other. And like, you know, somebody will say something like the flea market ruined the game, and then, you know, 80% of the people will just gather up and be like, no, like, yeah, the flea market ruined the game, you're stupid. And 20% of the people will be like, no, it's better. And they'll just argue and they'll argue and they'll be like, yeah, we all are right, we all agree, we're all a team. And then somebody in the crowd will be like, you know, I think Steam Audio sucked. And then everybody reorganizes into different groups, and they don't realize that they're shoulder to shoulder with the person they just said that they hated and it was stupid, and that you don't know anything about the game. If you think the flea market ruined that, you literally are stupid, you know nothing. And then somebody says something, and then they all just like, yeah, you're a piece of garbage, you know nothing, we all know. And then somebody says something, and it's just like everybody agreeing and disagreeing with each other. And it's just become the point where, like, if you ask somebody an opinion on anything, there's so many different opinions and so many different reasons, and everybody just like camps up, and it's just like this. I just see everybody mingling, and it's like
there's so many, but it's the same like 4.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's the same 4 tropes, right?
For sure, yeah.
Which is why it's exhausting.
And just like the realization of like, you can agree with me, but don't like remember that like these people that you say like we're the veterans or we're this or that. It's like you disagree with them, you know, in the next person's chat, and you call them idiots in the next. So just like, but nobody, you know, takes the time to realize that. Anyways, that's our journey of mental health and where Tarkov's at, and you know, well, I don't know. It's just the way she goes. We've had some weird bugs. We've had some weird new stuff, like a lot of weird new stuff. The USEC thing, the new lean bug, whatever you want to call it, in the past week or so. And everything is just feeling weird. And that's the reality of it. Still, you know, I had a raid where I laughed harder than I had laughed in a really long time today. Every once in a while, like you said, you get those factory raids or those other raids where everything just feels great. It feels on point. It feels good. But it just definitely, but at the same time, I'm not going to like ignore, or I'm not going to pretend that the other 8 of my raids weren't frustrating. You know what I mean? So it's just like, that's where we are. We'll see if they do some events here soon. I would hope that they would do some events here soon, but I have no idea. And yeah, that's it. I don't know. Tarkov. Yep.
I can feel my heartbeat in my eyeball, so that's where
that's
I'm
a good
at
sign. So we should go play some raids. No.
I mean, I'd be down.
I don't have anyone. If you're down.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to play. I wanted to play.
I know we were gonna play.
Let me.
We were gonna play with Valiant, dude, and we were so mad. He was like, he's gonna take a shower. He'll be right on. And then like 2 hours later, you were like, dude, Twitch won't let me go live. I don't know what's happening. So
let's do it.
But cool. Thank you guys for hanging. Thanks for being a part of the podcast, fam. Thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this episode. Poggers. Yeah, so this will be live on all the platforms early Monday. I won't be here next week because I'm going to TwitchCon.
Oh yeah, well, so am I.
Yes, I didn't know if you were coming.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
I got Ghost Freak as my bunk buddy.
Hell yeah, bro. Wow.
Oh,
I'm pumped now. I'm pumped. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging, and we will definitely see y'all on the next one.
Peace.